Dum-dee-dum. And we are recording. Guess what, folks? It's a Sunday, yes. It really is. Time for a bit of what's up. So before we get into the meat and bones of this, quick channel-y stuff for the people that don't know. There's going to be no reviews next week. That's from tomorrow, which is Monday the 5th of February, all the way up to Saturday the 10th. It's basically the first week of Chinese, well, the first full week of Chinese New Year this coming week. And this place is an absolute disaster. I can't fucking find anything that I'm looking for, and the stuff that I thought I could find isn't where it fucking should be. So I'm taking next week off. Both the live shows will still go ahead as normal. So the SX Mini UK live show on a Wednesday, even though SX Mini itself is on holiday because they're based in China, SX Mini UK page is still going. I'll still be uploading pictures and stuff. So the SX Mini live show is still going to go ahead as normal, as is the UK Vape show on Thursday. And this Thursday coming, we're going to have Mike from I Fancy One and Wit Liquor, and Nevs and Pugs from Fluide, who make this called Onks, or yeah, it's Onks. I don't know. It's just they just pick weird names. It's a small company that need a bit of a hand. You might not have heard of them. Hi, Pugs. So I've got Onyx. I don't usually use drippers, but for these particular liquids I'm using drippers. One of the Asgard Minis on top of the G-Class V2. I've been thoroughly enjoying Onyx. Thoroughly enjoying it. Then again, I like old school aniseed sweets. Always loved old school aniseed sweets, and this is a fucking phenomenal liquid. 100 watts on the G2. That door shut so I don't set off the fucking fire alarm. God, that is so fucking good. So yeah, no reviews next week. I'll be busy cleaning this place up. The two live shows will still go ahead as normal. Now, it's been the better part of a week, roughly. Just over a week since the announcement's been made by Rishi Sunak about what's actually going on with disposables. We know they're going to get banned by the end of this year, sometime. No solid date's been put out though. We know that Rishi Sunak's going to put legislation, or has already put legislation on the table to do with the public consultation about flavours sometime in 2025. Now, the first bit, nothing can be done about that. The legislation's already on the table. It's probably going through Parliament as we speak. The second bit, something can be done. The second bit, something can definitely be done about the flavour bit. Disposables, they're gone. They're gone. For Sunak to wind back on that disposable promise, he will find himself in a hell of a lot of problems. Now, what we need to do, this is the reason that I'm doing this video, because there has been a track record of royal fuck-ups along the way, and it's got nothing to do with the vaping public. The vaping public, all 3.5 or 4.2 million, depending on what number you want to believe, the vaping public will buy what is the easiest path for them to choose for. Simple as that. But what led the vaping public down that road is what happened in the industry itself, the trade industry itself. Now, go back and watch. I can't remember which one it was. I think it might have been the October Expo. It might have been the October one. Go back and watch one of the Expo videos. I think was it the October one? I think it was the October one. So go and watch the October Expo footage that I recorded last year. John Dunn was there, and I interviewed John Dunn. Over the past couple of days, I've been mulling through my head about what actually led us to this point. What led us to where we are right now, to make sure that we are not following essentially the same path that happened to the United States. Now, at the beginning, we kind of were, but then our road took a completely different path. Not because of what the industry done, because if it was up to the industry, we'd all be fucked right now, just saying, but it's what the path of the government done, which has diverged us from the path of the United States. At the end of last year, well, the last half of last year, John Dunn from UK VIA was basically saying flat out on a video that the UK government had no intention of banning disposables. Now, you look at some of the WhatsApps that I was bringing out at the beginning of 2023 on the run up to the May Expo, and a couple of videos that came out after the May Expo. I was one of the very few people that were saying there is a big possibility that the UK government could end up banning disposables. Now, we need to remember why the government went down this path. It's got nothing to do with think of the children, little fucking Timmy, with the parents that couldn't give a flying fuck that end up giving little fucking Timmy the parents' credit card so little fucking Timmy can go and buy their fucking disposables because the parents can't fucking parent worth a damn. That's the problem that's happening right now, right? So, you look at what happened on the run-up to what we are facing right now. The run-up. And you look at the dominoes that started to fall at the back end of 2022 going into the front half of 2023, and you can see the pattern start to emerge. It's got nothing to do with little fucking Timmy, with the parents that couldn't give a fuck. You know, the parents that look at little Timmy vaping on the disposable that the parents' money paid for, and the parents going, oh my god, we can't parent, so we're going to blame the government. Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Go and look at news reports with the headline of UK councils complaining about disposable waste. You'll find news reports dating back to summer of 2022, winter of 2022-23, and mid-spring of 2023. That was the ongoing narrative that kept this, and this narrative kept going all the way through from the back half of 2022 all the way to spring of 2023. Then the anti-e-cig establishment, the anti-e-cig lobby, Parents for Tobacco-Free Kids, they've actually got a base here in the UK. And well, they don't have an actual brick and mortar base, but they've got a Twitter base here in the UK now. So all those cretins over in the United States that are trying to get rid of vaping entirely, they're now camping here because they smell the blood in the water. They smell the blood in the water. But the reason the UK government was forced into this corner was not because of little Timmy with the parents that couldn't parent, not because of some unscrupulous vape shops, small minority of them, not because the biggest problem with disposables is due to corner shops, petrol stations and supermarkets selling their disposables to fucking 9-year-olds and not caring. No, it's because of local councils complaining about the waste. Local councils like Glasgow City Council, who, one of their councillors actually walked down, I think it was Union Street, it was one of the streets just off, and a fucking news report is still there if you search for it. I think it's Union Street just off of Glasgow Central Station. He walked down the 1 mile length of Union Street that's next to Union Street Station, the main train station, and where all the major vape shops are. He picked up 127 disposables in one walk. One walk. This wasn't multiple trips up and down. This was one walk. 127 disposables thrown on the ground. That is why Sunak's government started to feel pressure, because it wasn't just SNP councils that were complaining. It was Labour councils, and more importantly, it was Conservative-led councils that complained. And a lot of those Conservative-led councils are part of jurisdictions that are ran by Conservative politicians, backbench MPs, that have got slim majorities of 2,000 or less. It was nothing to do with the kids. It was nothing to do with the unscrupulous shops. At the beginning, it was the sheer amount of waste that disposables were causing. That's what led the government to the decision they've made today. Now, throughout all of this going on, from midway through 2022 to late summer of 2023, that's almost a 1 year stretch, almost slightly more actually than 12 months, there was news report after news report after news report after fucking news report of trading standards confiscating illegal 50mg disposables, of trading standards, confiscating illegal 30mg disposables, of trading standards, raiding wholesalers and distributors and confiscating illegal disposables, of trading standards, raiding dodgy vape shops, dodgy corner shops, dodgy supermarkets, dodgy petrol stations and confiscating illegal 30 or 50mg disposables. Trace that back and figure out where they came from. They were imported in. It's got to be imported in because the UK vaping industry does not have a disposable manufacturer within UK borders, so they had to be imported in. They had to be imported into a distributor and a wholesaler. I'm going to say one word, and a lot of you are going to sit there and go, oh yeah, Manchester. Now, the Manchester distros, it's not just one distro and one wholesaler. There's a bunch of them that are responsible for this. But these wholesalers and distros that are based in and around Manchester have been well known for a very, very long time for dealing with counterfeit products. What trade organisation are they a member of? UK VIA. As far back as late 2022, when Trading Standards was doing the raiding, when Trading Standards was raiding hundreds of millions of pounds worth of illegal disposables, as Trading Standards was raiding dodgy vape shops, the handful that are around, as Trading Standards was raiding corner shops, as council upon council upon council were complaining every single month to the government about the amount of wastage that these disposables are causing, as Action on Smoking and Health, and for that matter some of the stop smoking services surrounding Manchester and surrounding Liverpool were complaining about the amount of illicit and illegal disposables that they were seeing on the street. What did UK VIA do? Sweet fuck all. They seen this coming. They must have seen this coming. And the fact that they either didn't see it coming means they are completely ignorant to the fact of what's going on in the ground, or they did see it coming and didn't warn their own members. Well, put it this way, see if I was a member of UK VIA right now, I would be screaming at the top of the tallest fucking building, demanding the heads of every single director, every single board member, and every single manager of UK VIA, demanding every single one of them get sacked and replaced with people who are fucking competent at their fucking job, because it's becoming blatantly fucking obvious that they are not. Time and time and time again, the news was awash with councils complaining. Time and time again, Trading Standards raided. Time and time again, more councils started complaining. Time and time again, Stop Smoking Services complained. It was a whole row of dominoes falling one after another. Where the fuck was UK VIA, NNA and IBVTA to put a hand in front of those falling dominoes to stop it affecting the rest of the fucking industry? Nowhere. Nowhere. Nowhere to be fucking seen. And right up until the end of last year, UK VIA were saying there's going to be no ban, even though the councils were asking for a ban. Action on Smoking and Health at that time was asking for a ban. Stop Smoking Services was asking for a ban, and a growing number of Conservative backbench MPs were asking for a disposable ban. Now, at the same time this was going on, the opposition benches in the Labour Party, who are fervently anti-e-cig, was backing up the backbenchers of the Conservative Party asking for a ban. And that, when Labour got involved, is when little fucking Timmy entered the scene. Think of the children! So now, it's not just a problem of waste It's not just a problem of oh, we've got to be green and recycle and all that pish. Now it's a problem with the children, even though teen and youth vaping numbers have not increased by any measurable fact over the past 5 years. It was the left that brought in the children, because that's what they like to do, because they're cunts, quite frankly. Throughout all of this, Rishi Sunak, the sitting Prime Minister, was sitting there at number 10 Downing Street looking at all these complaints, looking at council after council complaining, including Conservative councils, looking at Action and Smoking and Health wading in with their input, looking at Stop Smoking Services complaining about the number of illicit, illegal disposables entering the country, and looking at it and thinking, well, if I was in Sunak's place, thinking, hold on a minute here, shouldn't the industry for the vaping people regulate themselves? Because they've done a pretty good job of doing it over the past 10 years. Think about it. Up until that point in time, when the disposables flooded the market, the UK industry was fairly good at regulating itself. Something changed at the very end of 2021, though. And that's when the disposable flood hit the UK. That's when the disposable flood hit the UK. And even as far back as midway through 2021, there was news upon news upon news article of trading standards, raiding wholesalers, raiding distributors, raiding markets, raiding illicit vape shops, and bagging 50 million, 70 million, 100 million pounds worth of illegal disposable vapes. Even as far back as 2021. What did UK VIA do? Nothing. UK VIA, along with the IBVTA, along with the New Nicotine Alliance, are the only 3 bona fide organisations that the UK government and the Labour Party will sit down and listen to. Now, the problem that the UK vaping scene now has is that the trust in UK VIA, the trust in the IBVTA, and the trust in the NNA is basically non-existent now. Now, it's not just me that's on this video saying this. I am basically speaking publicly on behalf of a growing number of e-liquid manufacturers, a growing number of brick and mortar independent shops in the UK, and a growing number of industry insiders who have a simple question for the NNA and the IBVTA and UK VIA. What the fuck is the point of you 3? What the fuck is the point of you 3? Honestly, UK VIA is supposed to have insider information in Westminster. Why is it I reported on a disposable ban that could be incoming 5 months before UK VIA did? Where has IBVTA been through all this? Sleeping in the fucking corner with a fucking hangover or something? And where the fuck's the NNA? Where's the NNA? The UK vaping industry is a ship out at sea, in the middle of a fucking raging storm. There's a big iceberg in the distance. That big iceberg is called legislation that will end up banning flavours in 2025. Who's piloting the ship? No cunt. Because they've all abandoned the ship. What's happened in the UK is not just an instant decision by the Conservative Party, because if you look at the Conservative Party, they had a slim majority when Theresa May won that election. The Conservatives didn't touch vaping. They had, at the time, a coalition slim majority government with the Lib Dems under David Cameron. They didn't touch vaping. They were falling apart, literally, just before Boris Johnson took over. They didn't touch vaping. Liz Truss was Prime Minister for essentially 40 fucking days in a government that was falling apart around her. She didn't touch vaping. Rishi Sunak is sitting with a majority that's no more than what Theresa May had. Granted, the Conservative Party is in the middle of falling apart, but so was Theresa May's government. The only reason Rishi Sunak done this is because he was pressured into doing it by Conservative backbenchers who are in parliamentary seats whose own councils were complaining about the disposable waste. It was the Labour Party that brought in the argument about the children. I said this about a year and a half ago. It was just before in fact it wasn't, it was about a year ago. Was it? I think I said it just after New Year of 2023, going into February of 2023, so it's about a year ago now. Myself and a lot of other people were saying it at the time, including Solom, Mark Solom and a few others. This industry is its own worst enemy. And it is its own worst enemy. The problem with a trade organisation like UK VIA is, number one, a lot of the illegal disposables that were entering the market were imported in by UK VIA's own fucking members. The wholesalers and distributors, half of them are a member of UK VIA. Now, at the point in time that Trading Standards was actually doing these raids, the point in time that Action and Smoking and Health was speaking up about the illicit and illegal disposables that were hitting the market, the point in time that local councils started to complain one after another like a falling line of dominoes about the disposable waste, at that point in time UK VIA could have seen the warning signs like myself and other people did, stepped in and said, whoa, all you distros and wholesalers that are importing all these illegal vapes in, stop it now. And if you don't stop it, we'll kick you out of UK VIA and we will report you to Trading fucking Standards. That one line would have shut down the illicit trade in black market disposables. It would have closed the doors on marketplace vendors that were selling these illicit disposables, and it would have taken the edge off, at least slightly, of the youth vaping problem that the Labour Party kept complaining about. But UK VIA didn't. They stepped back and let it fucking happen. Why? One word. Money. Now, up until this point in time, the UK had followed the exact same path that California and New Jersey had followed. The big advocacy groups over there that the likes of Grim Green kept pushing, and other big reviewers in the US who were basically in it just for the fucking money. It's the same problem that's happened here in the UK. The organisations that were basically set up to protect the vaping industry has failed miserably at protecting the industry they're supposed to be representing. They were asleep at the wheel as the ship of UK vaping industry careened headlong at 30 knots straight into a force 10 storm. And now that ship, along with all its passengers, me and you, the consumers, are in that storm, and there's nobody on the bridge handling that fucking wheel. This is why UK VIA and IBVTA and NNA, if you're still awake, that is NNA, because I haven't heard fuck all from you lot either. This is why more and more people are wondering, what the fuck is the point of you? No, seriously, what the fuck's the point? You're supposed to have industry insider contacts with the government. You never seen the ban coming. You're supposed to have industry insider contacts with the government and the Labour Party and never seen them. Never even suspected that they would start to tackle flavours. All the way up to the end of last year. All the way up to the end of last year, including the October Expo. If I was a member of UK VIA, I would be screaming blue fucking murder right now. I would be. Number one, where's all our fucking money going? Number two, what's the money being fucking spent on? Because it's obviously not being spent on actual lobbying and advocacy, because you would have known about the fucking ban in the first place. The UK is blind, rudderless, and heading straight for a flavour ban. And before anybody out there goes, "No, you're talking pish, Vic, they won't fucking ban flavours," the Conservatives won't. But do you honestly think the current Tory party is going to win the next election with a clear overall majority without having to go into a coalition partnership with either the Scottish National Party, the Greens or the Liberal Democrats? They will not get an outright majority. It's either going to be a hung parliament with a slim majority in favour of Labour, or a hung parliament with a slim majority in favour of the Conservatives. With the amount of hatred that's happening with the Conservative Party right now, if the Labour Party get in, it's going to either be with a substantial majority of 80 or above, or a slimline majority with the backing of the SNP, the Greens and the Liberal Democrats. Either way, we're going to be looking at a Labour Party majority after the next election. You look at what the Shadow Health Secretary said for the Labour Party as long ago as only 5 months ago, and I quote, "I want to heavily regulate the vaping industry." You look at what some of the backbench MPs have said to do with the Labour Party. They want a flavour ban. You look at what Angela Rayner, a current frontbench shadow, what the fuck is she, shadow deputy leader or some pish like that? You look at what she's been saying about vaping in the telly, even as little as two weeks ago, not months, 2 weeks ago. She said that vaping is dangerous. This is the same party that's going to take power by the end of this year. Don't turn round and say to me that the flavour ban is out of the question, because the Labour Party have been after vaping for a very fucking long time. You lot might want to bury your fucking heads in the sand and pretend nothing's fucking happening, but that's the same fucking mistake that happened in the United States, and look what happened over there. Their industry's gone. It's fucked. It's gone. What needs to happen, and it needs to happen extremely fucking quick, is the UK VIA, in order for UK VIA, the IBVTA and the New Nicotine Alliance to gain some modicum of trust in this community, the three of you morons need to get together. Choose one person from each of your respective organisations and put them on stage all at the same time during the May Expo on a Saturday afternoon, preferably around about 12 noon when the Expo at its public day is at its busiest. You three need to show some kind of united front about what's going to happen in the next 10 to 11 months. You three need to show some kind of united front for the normal everyday consumer that's buying your members' products, to show those consumers that there's some kind of plan in the fucking background that's being formulated that you three are going to come up with to save flavours in the UK in 2025. You three need to show a united front in public, on stage, at the May Expo, to show the Labour Party and the outgoing Conservative Party that, hey, the vaping industry is getting organised. Because if you three don't, then what the fuck is the point of any of you? Seriously, what the fuck is the point of any of you? Because you're asleep at the wheel while the UK vaping industry ploughs headlong into an iceberg that will sink the entire ship. That's just simple facts. Simple fucking facts. Now I'm gonna make some enemies making this video, and I fully fucking expect to. But here's the fucking thing. It's not just me thinking this. As I've said before, it's not just me thinking this. There is a growing number of independent vape shops, a growing number of pretty large e-liquid manufacturers that are looking at what's going on, and some of them, by the way, UK VIA, are your own fucking members. They're looking at what's going on and going, why the fuck are we paying all this money to UK VIA when they're sitting with their thumbs up their fucking ass doing nothing? They can't see it publicly, but I fucking can. You know what needs to happen? You know what needs to happen right now? Fuck the trade associations. Fuck them. They've dropped the ball and they've fucked off. What needs to happen is somebody with a lot of clout, and it's not going to be me because I'm just one single reviewer who's been doing this for a decade. I'm just one reviewer. It's going to take someone that's got a lot of clout in this industry, who's not backed by one sole company, to stand up and say, hey, I'm, insert name here, I'm going to form, come up with a name off the top of my head, the UK Electronic Cigarette Consumer Group. There we go, there's a good name. The UK Electronic Cigarette Consumer Group. And we're going to fight for advocacy. We're not going to be backed up by the trade industries. We're not going to be backed up by any backhanded stuff going on with big tobacco. We're going to be an independent consumer organisation based around the 3.5 to 4.2, depending on what number you want to believe, the 3.5 to 4.2 million vapers who are currently buying vaping products. From disposables up to the big shit like this. We're here to represent them. That's what needs to happen right now. That's what needs to happen. Because I have got a very, 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 and I'm going to emphasise this again, very bad feeling that both the Conservatives and Labour are no longer listening to UK VIA or IBVTA. I have got a very bad feeling that UK VIA and IBVT are now basically being ignored by both sides of Parliament. Because if you rewind the clock, the disposable problem could have been stopped by the fucking industry itself. But it wasn't. Someone needs to pick up the ball and start an advocacy group for the consumers in the UK. Someone needs to pick up the ball that's got a lot of backing from the industry itself, but who's independent from the industry, to set up some kind of consumer organisation for the millions of vapers in the UK. And it needs to happen very fucking quick. Because I've still got a feeling that come May, you're not going to see UK VIA, you're not going to see IBVTA, and you're not going to see the New Nicotine Alliance share the same stage at the May Expo and talk about advocacy. It's not going to happen. I can tell you it right now. And if it does fucking happen, I will be extremely fucking surprised. Extremely surprised that they've decided to pick up the ball and fight for advocacy at the consumer level. Yeah. We're in the middle of a storm right now, people. Heading for an iceberg. And there's nobody on the fucking bridge. There's nobody. We're rudderless. Completely fucking directionless. Right now. Battery's flat. That fucking figures. Okay, hold on. Are you flat? No, you're not. Okay, the tank's empty. Back to the dripper, I suppose. Right. So there we go. And before anybody goes into the comments and say, Vic, you should set up an... No. One reviewer with a tiny bit of clout has not got enough clout to actually set up something this big. It needs to be somebody with a lot of industry inside contacts. It needs to be somebody who's been embedded in the industry from the beginning at a trade level. And it also needs to be somebody who's independent from any major e-cig manufacturer. It can't be me. It's got to be somebody that can actually get the attention of the likes of VPZ, of the likes of Totally Wicked, of the likes of the small independent vape shops, who can then say to those thousands of chain shops up and down the country, hey, can you put this leaflet on your desk? And that leaflet will contain instructions for the general consumer to join the UK Vaping Consumer Advocacy Group. Whether it be a Facebook group, whether it be a full-blown website, who the fuck cares? As long as there's some kind of advocacy and some kind of group being formed on the run-up to the end of this year. Because if my gut feeling is right, and the government, along with the opposition, are basically ignoring UK VIA and IBVTA, we need something bigger to take their place. And we need it quick. It's not going to be me that does it. Sure, if somebody sets one up and somebody who's big that's recognisable, I'll be the first to put my fucking hand up and help them out. But I'm not going to run it. I'm not big enough to run something like that. Simple as that. But there we go, folks. There's your doom and gloom for today. I still laugh. I still laugh any time says they're not going to go after flavours. No, the Tories aren't, but Labour is. You can be fucking guaranteed Labour are thinking about it right now. You can be guaranteed. Half the front bench wants flavours banned. Half the back benchers want flavours banned. And the current shadow health secretary for the Labour Party wants to, again, and I quote, heavily regulate the vaping industry. His words, not mine. Now you can bury your head in the sand all you fucking like. I choose to actually open my eyes and see what the fuck's going on. Fucking phenomenal juice, this. Phenomenal juice. That bottle's going to be fucking finished in a couple of days. Anyway, that is it. Fucking hell. That's why I shut the door, because the fire alarm would be going off by now. That is it from me, folks. Don't forget, no reviews next week. Both the live shows, though. UK Vape Show with special guest Mike from I Fancy One, and from Wick Liquor, and Pugs and Nevs from Fluid. They'll be the 3 guests that are on for the UK Vape Show this coming Thursday, but no reviews, because this place is a fucking disaster zone, and I need to sort shit out, because I can't find my 2 K-Funs, and I want one of those K-Funs. It's a K-Fun Light, one of the newer ones, and I've got an Eden Mods Rose here somewhere. Can't find it. Can't fucking find it anywhere. Fuck knows where it is. So I need to get this place sorted out. Anyway, that is it from me, folks. As always, thanks for watching, and have a good one.